My name is Victor Olisa. I'm a Chief Superintendent in the Metropolitan Police Service, and I've recently, 6 months ago, took over the role of leading the inclusion and diversity work in the Metropolitan Police Service. And that involves doing two broad things, really. So for all colleagues in the Met, around about just over 40,000 colleagues made up of serving police officers, warranted police officers and professional staff. The two broad things that my role involves is to internally to create an integrated workforce, one that feels that they're treated equitably, with dignity, so they can deliver of their best. So if they want to go for promotion, progression, they can do that in a way that they can have honest conversations with their leaders. And making sure from a legal perspective that we treat everyone equitably along the lines of the 9 protected characteristics under the Equalities Act. So that's the legal bit. But what we're actually driving for is the moral bit, the fact that we want to treat our people the best way we can, because if we can do that, then they can deliver of their best and they can be actually more productive. Which leads to the second bit of what my work is about. When we get the internal integration right, so our staff feel comfortable that they can deliver of their best, then we've got to deliver policing services to Londoners. The 8 million people who live in London, plus the countless who come and visit. We make sure that we provide the best policing service for them and meet our strapline, which is to have the safest global capital city. So those are the two broad things. Internally, making sure all our staff are treated fairly, properly, and so they can deliver the best policing service to the people of London. I think the biggest challenge is trying to overcome the legacy of diversity and inclusion over the years, because it invariably has been more negative than positive. We came from a position where some of the drivers for us changing and looking at how we increase the diversity of the workforce have come about through things that we've done wrong, for which we've been criticised, and as a consequence, the things we've done have been to actually remedy mistakes. And you can imagine in doing that, people have been blamed for a whole range of things. So, people have been, whether not literally, people have been blamed for being sexist, for being racist. And so when you get to a stage years down the line, when you look at the stats, and the stats don't seem to have changed in terms of employment, in terms of makeup, when you start having the conversation to revitalise, to get us into a position so we can get the best people into the Metropolitan Police Service, there are lots of people with lots of history who are thinking, oh, here we go again. This is going to be another round of blaming us for things that we weren't responsible for, things that we didn't know about, and we're trying our very best. So the really challenging thing is to actually get colleagues in a position where make them feel positive, look at how we want to develop together, and actually try and come from a position of not blame, which is not where we're from, but from a position of learning together and actually providing a positive environment where we can actually say, as I say, develop and deliver the best policing services to Londoners. If I start from a personal perspective, I think it's one of the greatest, if not the greatest job in the world to do. And if you think, I for one of 40,000, I'm entrusted to look after this fantastic city, to keep the people of the city safe, to keep the people who come and visit it so they can enjoy visiting the city because of the things that we do. And a whole range of responsibility that I could engage in, from walking the beat to actually rubbing shoulders with royalty and protecting them. It's an incredibly rewarding job if people want to do it. I think what we need to do more is to actually encourage people from all backgrounds. And one of the things you hear regularly is that people, from African, Asian background don't want to join the police because, it's not a professional job. I think what we need to do is actually be more positive and actually explain that policing is a complex, is a demanding job, and people who've been to university, have degree level education, it's worth their while to do it. So as a simple example, you could join the police, you could get trained, and you walk out into the streets of London and you might be required to work alongside a paramedic trying to save someone's life. You could be sent to a home where there's difficult social problems and you have to navigate and give people advice of the complexity that social workers will have to do. It's an incredible job, and those are just two simple examples of the complexity of the work that we need to do. So I think it's incumbent upon us to actually explain to the wider community, particularly communities from African and Asian background, that it is a job worth investing in. It's a profession that's worth investing in. And I think once we get people in to look at it, they'll be thrilled. And like myself, I think they'll be reluctant and reticent to leave when their time comes, when they've served their 30 plus years.